This unicorn diaper is something else. It claims to offer a whopping 13,500 milliliters of absorbency, measured according to ISO standards, so it's relatively comparable. Let's take a look at this video to see if that's really true and what else it can do in a practical test. The packaging itself has a colorful design and gives you an idea of what to expect inside. Here we have size M, which is medium for a waist circumference of 71 to 94 centimeters. There are also sizes L and XL available. XL has not been omitted, as some other manufacturers do because this size is relatively uncommon. However, size S has been omitted. The CK brand is fairly new. This is also the first diaper to be released under CK. These are the initial letters of the two shops, namely Cloudrys and Kiwisto. As you might guess, they focus on ABDL. Kiwisto was founded in 2007 for children and teenagers who either wet the bed or are incontinent. I have noticed several times that Kiwisto is expensive. Unfortunately, this has been confirmed once again here. Rainbow Island costs €34.90 per pack at Cloudrys. At Kiwisto, it costs a whopping €37.90 for the same pack. That's a markup of €3, or around 9% in relative terms. There are other curiosities at CK. More on that later. Let's take a look at the diaper itself first. The pack contains 10 pieces, as is now common with many brands and models. Unusual. The packaging indicates that the diaper should weigh 250 grams. That would be a new record. We're curious to see what the scales show later. It's pretty obvious that they took inspiration from Tycable's unicorn, which I've also tested before. However, it's not a direct copy, but rather they were inspired to come up with their own design. However, the large rainbow unicorn is something they have in common in a different style. It is a noticeably thick diaper printed with bold colors and high contrast. You can see this between the different colors that have been used. So, once the motif, but also the pink and white tones. The brand name is prominently printed on the front. This is great from a marketing perspective, of course. It can also help some people to find them again if they see them somewhere in a picture. I'm not a big fan of this kind of advertising and I don't think it should exceed this level. As with the Tycable's unicorn, there is also a wetness indicator here. Instead of stars, clouds with the word dry have been used, which disappear as soon as the diaper gets wet. This isn't really necessary, as the area of the diaper that gets wet is relatively light in color and therefore easy to see. In general, it's debatable whether such gimmicks are necessary at all. Here, they are included. Inside, we have very high leak protection. You may already be familiar with this from other thick diapers. On the one hand, this is of course to prevent leaks, but it also provides space for boosters, absorbent pads, to further increase absorbency. This is in line with what you would expect for this price range. Visually, it really depends on your own taste whether you like pink colors and unicorns. It's a bit more unusual. Some people like it, others don't so much. The diapers come out of the package loosely. Nevertheless, I recommend folding them slightly or crumpling them carefully. Not so much because of their hardness, which is not a problem here, as is the case with better dry or crinkles, for example, but rather because of the thickness of the material. The wide cut is noticeable as soon as you put them on, with plenty of absorbent material. This is reminiscent of Abu Tiny Tails or Kiddo Extreme. The Extreme is pure white, without colorful designs, but it is still a very thick diaper and has large, strong adhesive strips. These are very easy to attach at first, but their adhesive strength increases over time. When you open them, it is still possible, but you have to use more force. This makes them very stable. I have never had any of these thickest types of adhesive strips tear. This is quite different from the smaller ones, e.g., from Cloudrys Superheroes. They are less stable. It doesn't happen all the time, but occasionally it has happened that they cannot withstand the weight, especially when the diaper is very full and therefore heavy. My measurements showed a dry weight of 243 grams. That's pretty good. This puts it in fourth place among the thickest diapers in all practical tests to date. First place is shared by Rears and Abu. Abu's diaper is the Tiny Tails mentioned above. At 247 grams, it weighs a little more, but not by much. With this high amount of absorbent material, it feels really thick and well padded. I therefore expected it to be in a similar range to Tiny Tails. Neither diaper was impressed by the first few wet diapers. They absorbed everything immediately, without any problems. When weighed, the big surprise came with a total weight of 2,642 grams. Not only did this significantly beat Tiny Tails, but it also made it to the top of the diapers with the highest absorbency of all previous tests. The previous test winner, Kiddo Extreme, was surpassed in both disciplines. First, in terms of empty weight, it is very slightly heavier at 2 grams, meaning it has a little more volume, but also in terms of maximum weight, where we have 2,618 grams compared to 2,642 grams. On the other hand, the website ck-diapers.com, which is prominently printed on the packaging, is not convincing. Here you can see the original screenshot of it, if you can even call it a website. It is extremely uninspiring and completely uninformative. The page just has a strange table where you can see the logos of both companies and both shops. To the right of it, there is supposed to be some kind of picture of the diaper. But it can't even be found, it's broken. So it's a complete disaster. I wouldn't even dream of going online with something like that. The diaper, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. It is soft, has a super comfortable film, fits comfortably and well. It is also very thick with correspondingly high absorbency, so you can wear it for quite a long time without having to change it. In terms of price, it is on par with the Kiddo Extreme. The absorbency is also almost identical. This means that you can decide based on the design whether you prefer this colorful, pink unicorn print or no print at all, as the Extreme is completely white. You have to pay a little more for the Tiny Tails at €3.70. This only makes sense if you like the design better, which I can understand. Not because I think the Tiny Tails are prettier than the Rainbow Island. On the contrary, I like both, but of course the Tiny Tails may be more appealing to some who aren't really into the pink unicorn. Personally, I'm convinced that it has earned its place on my list of the top 10 best diapers, but with one caveat. Be sure to order from Cloudrys, not KiwiStow, because you'll pay significantly more there. For one thing, the diapers themselves are currently about 9% more expensive there. In addition, Cloudrys offers free shipping on orders over €150. That means it's worth buying a larger supply. That's what I always do. Order less often but in larger quantities. Then you don't have to pay shipping costs. You can save that money too. That makes it even cheaper. Stay dry. Bye, see you next time.